All right, Rick, we've talked about some of your products. Would you like to give us a quick rundown on how to properly use them?
Sure, thanks, Jim. First of all, I'd like to dispel the myth that organics is hard. Organics is actually really easy. You need a little experience, but once you get into it, you'll find that organics versus chemicals, organics is by far the easier method to grow. There's primarily 4 different ways to use our product line in most organics. One is kind of the old style. You put a little fertilizer into the planting hole and you side dress around the plant throughout the season, and in the end your plant is happy. The second way, which is becoming more popular these days, is to develop a soil with all the components and all the nutrients and all the amino acids and everything else that a plant needs to grow in your pot. Plant your plant, and basically you've got everything that the plant needs to continue, throughout its entire life cycle. The third way is for those who aren't that interested in using dry products and are more interested in using liquid products. Pretty easy. You take one of our products, you dilute it in some water, and you drench the soil every X number of weeks, depending on the plant, depending on what you're trying to get out of the plant. The fourth method, which is gaining a lot of interest with the homeowner and commercial ag these days, is foliar feeding. And foliar feeding essentially is spraying a fertilizer onto the plant surface, the leaf surface, and there's a secondary feeding mechanism through the plant where the plants can absorb a certain amount of nutrient through its leaf structure, and you really get a nice boost to the plant growth. So there's actually a lot of different ways to use organics and a lot of different ways to success. But Jim, I know you use a lot of these products and you're happy with them. What's your favorite method?
I would say my favorite method would have to be using your indoor feed chart that you formulated. It's very easy to use. Anybody can pick up the chart and they can use it, not only on a simple scale, but on a complex scale, and they can start introducing, some of the foliar.
Okay. Well, we tried to create that schedule to give you some options. So there's a couple of different paths through it, some simple, some a little more complex. You can add a few products or not. It really depends on what you guys want to do.
And to say a little bit more, I mean, even the most complex organic feed chart is still 10 times easier than, mixing up 5 gallons of synthetic nutrients.
Right.
By far.
Right. And one of the reasons why organics is so much easier after you actually develop a little experience is organics are slow release by nature. They feed their nutrients and their amino acids and their enzymes as the biology in the soil breaks down. So you can't burn a plant. With chemicals, without a doubt, probably every one of you have had some experience burning plants. With organics, it's easy because you can't. You put the organics in the soil, and as long as you keep, over time, the right level of nutrients that your plants need, you're not going to hurt the plant. You're going to end up with a healthy plant.
I'm sure a lot of people out here have the same question as a lot of the customers that come into the shop. They want to know the proper way to foliar spray. It seems like it's getting more popular. Can you give us a quick rundown on that?
Sure, why don't we give a quick demonstration? Okay, Jim, so we mixed up a solution of one of our products, the liquid kelp. Actually, any of our product lines, with the exception of the humic acid, can be used in a foliar application. All these products are concentrated. Every product you want to dilute with water, which we've already done, and according to the instructions on the bottle. A couple of simple things to keep in mind when doing foliar spraying. You may or may not want to use a wetting agent. It's really up to you. Most of our products don't need it. What a wetting agent does is it helps the product stick to the surface of the leaf until the plant has had the opportunity to absorb what you're applying to the plant. The other important thing to keep in mind is you only should foliar spray either in early or late day. If you're outdoors, if you're indoors, make sure that your growing lights are not on. What can happen is the liquid molecule that's on the surface of the leaf, the light shining through can actually burn your plant. So just make sure you give your plant time to dry out before turning on the lights in your growing environment. We're using kind of a cool little bottle here. What makes this kind of unique, and these things you can find in HDR, it's got this little twist nozzle. And this nozzle can be twisted to 360 degrees. And one of the important things when you're foliar spraying is to wet both sides of the leaf surface, bottom of the leaf and top of the leaf. So it's pretty simple. You don't want to saturate your plant. What you're trying to do is put a fine mist on both sides of the leaf. And you're done. It's that simple. Again, a couple important things. Make sure you don't do it under the lights. Make sure you wet both sides of the plant. You don't need to saturate the plant. You're going to see a nice plant response if you add foliar feeding to your schedule.
Out.